Alright, hello and welcome to this week's Why Would You Use? So, this week I've decided to do a different type of weapon, I suppose, in the Sybaris, which I believe is my favorite burst rifle. There are a few burst rifles, but this one is overall my favorite, a lot in part because it's not really your average burst rifle, I suppose. So, let's take a look at it. Okay, so we'll take a look at its base stats first. So, regularly, its damage is nothing to write home about. Its trigger is a burst fire, and it fires in bursts of 2, instead of the regular 3, I would say. It has okay status chance. Its reload speed is fine, not insanely fast, but it's fast enough to get you where you need to go. It has a 10-round magazine size as a base, which is pretty good, considering it has a 4 fire rate, which is relatively fast, especially with the changes to how burst fire weapons work now with their fire rates. Its critical multiplier is regular, but that's fine because it also has a regular 25% critical chance, which is a bit higher than you'd regularly expect to see on a burst rifle, as each shot has that chance to crit. So whenever you're firing, you have 2 shots that have a 25% chance to critical. So let's get to the build that I use with this. Because it is a critical weapon, it's not hard to just put Serration, Point Strike, Vital Sense in, and then just kind of fill out the rest with some elemental type damages, which is like the no form of build that I use is this. And this build actually does a really good amount of damage. If you're someone that enjoys challenging yourself a little bit more, I would say, to get those weak points and headshot shots, this weapon's going to do a absolute ton of damage. If you can consistently move enemy to enemy and get those headshots, nothing lasts very long, especially if it doesn't have armor. You'll be killing things near instantly. It's a ton of damage that you can do with this weapon. I will say, if you wanted to add Forma to this, I think the obvious inclusion in this last slot is Split Chamber. I enjoy having Blast and Corrosive together, or any combined 2 elementals, or 2 combined elementals rather. But Split Chamber is just a really good damage increase. But unfortunately, in order to add it, I would have to take out 2 elementals or add Forma. So unfortunately, that's not really a great trade in my opinion. So yeah, if you wanted to make this weapon just definitely better, add Split Chamber to it with some Forma, makes it a way better weapon overall. And then obviously if you want to move away from this still slightly low status, even more Forma would be added to add in the more powerful versions of the elementals, because this is 60, go up to 90, costs 4 more. Do that for all the elementals. This weapon can dish out some very, very high damage. Also, as an aside, is Hammer Shot. You could also use Hammer Shot if you wanted to. This also doesn't really fit for me, but I might consider taking out one of the elementals for Hammer Shot. Depends, really. I probably wouldn't. I'm not sure how that affects the DPS because I just decided not to use it and it didn't go through the calculations, I suppose. But that's an optional mod that you could use. Mostly it would be for the status chance, though, and this weapon's status chance is not amazing, but it's there. So yeah, this weapon has a lot going for it, I would say, and it's not very popular, which is really weird to me because it's not particularly difficult to acquire or anything. It's not made of 5 other guns or anything like that. I think it's mostly that it just does, or it requires a little bit more skill, I would say, is that you have to hit those weak points to get the huge damage. And if you're just kind of just firing randomly, then you're not gonna be doing all the damage you definitely could be doing, and it's not really good for just randomly firing into a crowd like, say, the Voltor Prime. But this weapon does do really, really well. So, that's why I wanted to show it off, because I think it's the best burst rifle, for sure. And of anything, I think if we got the bad multi-shot change, that would make it so that like it takes more ammo to have multi-shot, this weapon would end up being very, very, very good. Because just as it is right now, I think it's like a competitive endgame weapon. Like you could totally use it. So it's not using multi-shot right now, which means that it'd be pretty top tier. But yeah, let's get to the firing range and see what it can do. Alright, so, before we start this up, there's something I must admit. Burst rifles are not, like, my absolute favorite weapon type, so I'm also not amazing with them. Like, I don't practice all the time with the Sybaris. I just think it's, like, probably the best burst rifle for me, personally. So, this is not going to be the most optimal play you've ever seen, probably. Please do not hate me. I do really like this weapon, and its stats definitely work out for people who really like the burst rifles. But generally for me, I'm not going to pick a burst rifle over a machine gun, so that's just needed to be said, I suppose. I'll do 3, we'll do 5 of these guys. Two of these? Yeah, 2 of these is fine too. We'll actually fill out the rest with this. That should be fine. Alright, where are the healers? Where are the ancient healers? There they are. And now it's behind a wall. That's not good. And the shield spray. Dead? Alright, wonderful. Obviously, against armor, no weapon is particularly amazing. Excuse me, enemies. Ah, shit. Misjudged. Go. There's that heavy damage from headshots kicking in. Damn it. Yeah, regular enemies getting headshots, they don't stand much of a chance. Blast damage give you plenty of time to reload, fortunately, which is one of the reasons why I use it. Gosh, why am I so terrible? Ow. Gosh. Sorry. Yeah, this weapon is not my forte. There we go. Are there any more enemies? I think that's everyone. Alright, so yeah, that is the Sybaris. So, I'm going to reiterate. I am not amazing with burst fire weapons. This weapon can be way more effective than the way that I was just using it. I missed a lot of shots. If you are more accurate than I, this weapon will do way more work for you. So yeah, that's the Sybaris.